Hey, baby.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Hey, baby.
It's 91.7 WMWM Salem
WM.
at the movies with
At
Matt and
the
Ryan.
Ryans.
You don't need to echo everything I say, Matt.
You don't need a Recco.
Echo.
Recco.
Stop.
Opening day, everyone. Opening
it's
day.
spring. It's actually nice out. Holy crap, it snowed for like 2
That's
days.
vulgarity.
What?
You sweared.
I said crap.
That's a swear.
All right, anyway. Yeah, it's actually nice out, so go outside.
Baseball's back. Stay indoors. Watch it.
No, yeah, I'm just excited that it's finally nice out. And we're starting early today. We're 3 minutes early. We are also only on here for an hour. It's been a slow week.
We got a few reviews coming up today. Also, talk baseball. A little baseball preview coming up. Maybe talk a little of my fantasy team,
Yeah.
which will be great. Good. I don't know. We'll
What
talk
thing-
basketball too. You know.
Yeah, one thing I will say, it's crazy. We're only like 3 more weeks here, and then we're out. Like, just 3 more weeks of doing this show.
Yes. Drew had Marcio Tanaka, and I'm playing him, and he got whooped today.
Oh, my gosh.
That's good news.
Way to, you know.
All right. Should we start with our first review? Get right up into it.
Let's get into it. since
Boss
we have an
Baby.
hour. Boss Baby. Oh, I didn't see it.
All right. So, the number one movie in America, obviously, the expectation is that we see it, but Ryan did not see Boss Baby. I did for the fans.
Yeah.
Go see Boss Baby. And this is DreamWorks' latest film, animated movie, obviously. And the concept is pretty much there is this baby played by Alec Baldwin who works at this baby company. He's a boss baby, per se. And he gets brought into this family where this kid is, I forget his name, I think Timmy is an only child, and he has to deal with competing with this baby for his parents' attention, while also helping the baby with his mission, which was just kind of weird in the movie. Like, he wants, the bad guy is trying to make a puppy that lives forever, and his plan is to stop that, because if there's a puppy that lives forever, it'll be so cute that no one will have kids anymore. So that's really the setup.
It's like a weird concept.
I'm a fan. I mean, DreamWorks is always viewed as Pixar and Disney's younger brother. They're always trying to compete, but they've had not nearly as much success. But I give them credit because I think they have taken a lot of chances over the years. I mean, Shrek is really a satire of the Disney princess films and stuff like that. Made a lot of good movies. Like I like Sinbad. I like Chicken Run, Ants. They've been around for 19 years now. Kung Fu Panda series lately. But recently they've suffered some lackluster box office performances, especially with Mr. Peabody and Sherman didn't really do as well as they expected. Same with Turbo and How to Train Your Dragon 2 and Rise of the Guardians. So I think DreamWorks as a company is starting to really play it safe with their animated films, and The Boss Baby really shows that. I think this is about as mediocre as you can get with a movie.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a very good concept, and even seeing the trailer, it's like this just kind of looks dumb. And what I've noticed with a lot of animation films nowadays is a lot of the writers are becoming more socially conscious, and they're gearing their stories towards adults just as much as kids. And I felt like Boss Baby, even from just watching the trailer, wasn't going to do that.
This was better than the trailers. The trailers, I thought this was going to be one of the worst movies of the year, something like that. But it was very passable. It's just, I mean, Alec Baldwin, the idea of him playing a little baby, like it has a few moments of somewhat giggles, but I think this movie does very much play it safe in all aspects, and definitely plays to a younger crowd. I mean, the movie tries to appeal to older audiences with a lot of kind of off-color jokes. There's one thing referencing a kid has tea and he's like, wow, the Long Island iced tea is kind of weird, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It always feels like forced and just unnecessary, and that always became annoying to see. I mean, the movie, it's short, it's 92 minutes, and I think they do pad out the running time a bit with the ending. It feels overly long, but I don't know. It's very conventional. I mean, you got Jimmy Kimmel in the voice cast along with Lisa Kudrow and Steve Buscemi, and they have nothing to work with comedically. It's just very,
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing if writers are gearing towards the smaller audiences, the younger audiences. But I mean, you still have to make. I still feel like you have to make something that's clever, and the way you're describing it, it doesn't seem that clever compared to like a Zootopia from like last year.
It just seemed like an animated movie that would have came out in like 2004 or something like that, when the standards for animated movies were so much lower. It's just like, okay, all you really have to do is appeal to kids, with Pixar being like the few exceptions of the bunch. They tend to make better movies, but now where there's so many animated movies like Kubo and the Two Strings and Moana that impress with their creativity, and they have good heart, and even some interesting depth. I mean, this just feels so out of place compared to films like that, and that's very noticeable. And there's very little joy in it. I think the parts that are best are when director Tom McGrath, who did 2010's Megamind, which I think is a pretty underrated satire of superheroes. I like that movie. It didn't do gangbusters at the box office, but it's a good flick.
Was that the one you watched the other night?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that the first time you saw it?
No, I've seen it before. It's a good satire of super. It's probably a lot of people rank it as one of DreamWorks' more middling entries, but I think it has some good laughs to it. But I think McGrath succeeds best at when he's playing off the children's wild imagination. There's some fun little visual style moments, but those moments feel very far and few between. The script here is so cliche and formulaic. Every plot beat and action sequence you can see coming from a mile away. It all just feels like it's so standard issue and so like just safe.
Silly?
No, not silly, just safe.
Oh.
Like it, and just so like kind of cynical too, because it's really a one joke movie. The whole joke is that it's Alec Baldwin playing this baby. He doesn't sound like a baby. Yada yada yada. And just so often the movie plays up the silliest, not silly, but like
I don't know. People were
dumbest gags.
People were saying like there was Trump references. Is that true?
No.
I don't know. I like heard that. Like one of the babies.
I mean, people are saying like, yeah, it kind of looks like Trump in some ways,
Yeah.
so it's Trump. I know.
That's what I heard.
That's not there. There's no subtext to this. I mean,
think, yeah.
The movie, it tries to be about its themes are also very played out. It's about family and learning to appreciate your brothers and sisters, etc. And that kind of, it's okay. There's a couple moments where it's like, oh, okay, that's nice, but definitely its execution is very played out, and it's very familiar. It's something you've seen before for sure.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, people were saying that with the Trump. I think just everything.
I mean, the movie
needs to be political.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it premiered with like a 29%, but it's risen all the way up to 48%, which is kind of surprising to me. I think some critics are still a bit too forgiving to animation as a genre.
Yeah.
Taking the lowest common denominator product, which is a shame because I think the art form has proven to be a good vehicle for story and character, and while bringing entertainment for all audiences.
Yeah.
So this definitely I think the littlest of little kids will dig this probably, and adults will. It wasn't a painful experience. I wasn't miserable. I was just kind of indifferent and bored. But I think all audiences, this will be just an incredibly forgettable movie. I don't see this being a movie you show your kids every year or something like that.
Yeah,
it's just like you go take them. It's loud and colorful for like 90 minutes and then it's over. And then you like I wrote my review last night for ScreenGeek.net. You can find all my reviews there. And I literally had a hard time remembering the movie, and I literally saw it 2 hours beforehand. So that's a very telling sign of just how middling this movie is.
Did Ashley like it?
No. I think it was just census agreement that it was just mediocre. Like I didn't hate it though. Like part of me was expecting it to be like terrible, and it just it was just whatever. Like but that might be worse because if it was terrible, at least I would have been impassioned by something or something that engaged me. But this was just very like safe and conventional. And I'm sad DreamWorks is doing this because beforehand they've shown some bite, being able to satire things, and they didn't always play it so safe. But I think with the slew of financial disappointments, I think they're starting to kind of mail it in a bit, which is a shame. Their last movie was the Trolls movie, which I didn't see, but actually got okay reviews. That looked meh, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Pixar's running them over, I guess.
Well, Pixar hasn't been all that great.
Yeah. What was Zootopia? Was that Disney? Was that just
that
Disney?
was Disney.
Because I know Disney.
Pixar was Finding Dory.
Yeah, Pixar's owned by Disney. But
well, now they are. Yeah,
but I don't know if like that counts.
Pixar has kind of lost its way. I think since Toy Story 3, they have been coasting a bit.
They had Inside Out, right?
Everyone loves it. I didn't like Inside Out. I know I'm in the minority in that. But Cars 2, Monsters University, which I liked more than most people. But
yeah, Monsters University is good.
It's still like a 7. It's not. It's nothing special.
If Trent's listening, he said the other day, he's like, I think it's just as good as Monsters Inc.
No, Monsters Inc. The thing with early Pixar movies is they had a big heart. Like Monsters Inc. That relationship between Sully and the girl, it's touching, and you tear up a little bit. I mean, their movies now, they have none of that emotional resonance. Yeah. I mean, Finding Dory was another like 7 out of 10 movie. Like it was okay, but it's nothing of the typical DreamWorks Pixar standard.
I think people praised that movie because it was just like nostalgia, kind of like Finding Nemo.
Yeah, that definitely helped. I don't think it's a bad movie.
Yeah, I think it was good. I just think that a lot of people were like, "Oh, I miss Finding Nemo," and like
I hated Brave. Brave came out in 2012.
Did you?
That movie's terrible.
I remember that was huge. Didn't that win Best Animated?
No, I don't think it did.
It got nominated, but
it might have won. But that was 2012. That's probably a bad year for animated movies. But I mean, they keep on coming. I mean, we have Smurfs next week, which I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Smurfs will be better than Boss Baby.
Isn't there like a Minions movie coming out too?
Yeah, Despicable Me 3 is coming out. Yeah. I don't know. I've lost my interest in the animated genre, really, just because I think things are very played out. Even movies like Zootopia and Finding Dory, even with their they have a little subtext to them. It's still nothing groundbreaking. I thought Kubo really had a emotional resonance and perspective that is unique to the genre, and I also think the visuals of it were just so. Just fantastic. And I think there was a real artistry to that film. But most other animated movies, I think, are in the 7 to 4 range, pretty much.
7, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I thought last year was a really good... I mean, well, I only saw like 3 last year. But from looking at like what critics were saying about Moana.
I mean, Zootopia got all the rave reviews, and I thought it was fine. Oh, Moana, I say, too, is above the echelon. I thought that was like an 8.
Yeah.
I think that one was really bright and lively and had something to say and kind of echoes back to the old Disney princess movies, but still gives the genre its own spin. So I like that one a lot too.
I didn't see it.
Sing looked really meh.
Yeah.
The studio that does the Despicable Me movies is like so rich right now, but I think all their movies have been so mediocre. I am not a fan of any of the Despicable Me movies. They did that Hop movie with Russell Brand playing Easter Bunny. That looked terrible. They've done some other... Oh, Secret Life of Pets was a huge hit at the box office, but that looked kind of mediocre to me, too. So, I don't know. Animation, it's not in as good of a place as it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we had movies like Ratatouille. And
Ratatouille was great.
Just, fantastic movies there. Kung Fu Panda, I love
Kung Fu.
I hadn't seen the third one, but the first 2 are pretty strong movies. Yeah, but enough of my, diatribe on animation.
We don't talk about animation a lot, so.
Because we don't, I mean, I'm not seeing Rock Dog or whatever. I'm not, sorry.
Minions.
What's up? What did you say?
Minions.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw, maybe at the end of the show I'll talk about the 40 minutes of Monsters Truck I watched Friday night, but I don't know.
Boy.
Yeah, I don't really remember it. But want me to go into my rating?
Yeah, go into your
I'll
rating.
give this a 4.5. I think last night I was thinking 5, but that was way too generous.
Yeah.
So 4.5. That might be more of a 4, but it didn't piss me off, and I think for kids with siblings, I think it'll be nice the ending, but otherwise, whatever. I'm gonna forget it tomorrow. So
Oh.
I had a hard time
I won't
remembering
check
it
it out.
for today.
Even from the trailer, I wasn't interested.
The trailer makes it sound like it's gonna be terrible, and
Yeah.
it's not, but it's not good either.
But that's everything. You gotta make a trailer good for people that want to go see it.
Yeah. All right,
All right.
Uh,
You want to move on to the Discovery?
sure.
All right.
Do you want me to do the setup?
Sure.
Well, first I'll give background as usual. This film premiered at the 2017 Sundance Film Festival. It was one of the big premiere films, and that's mainly because of director-writer Charlie McDowell, who did the 2014 film The One I Love, which stars Mark Duplass and Elizabeth Moss. A really underrated and intelligent indie that kind of combines both science fiction and real life in a very interesting way. And it used its kind of smaller setting, but still created this very universal story about marriage and a lot of other existential problems. But this premiered at Sundance and was picked up by Netflix. One of their many moves. They picked up a couple other Sundance movies. I Don't Feel at Home at This World Anymore, which won the Grand Jury Prize, as well as Burning Sands, which is about college fraternities and kind of the troubles in that. Both those movies were like pretty good. I watched both. I know we didn't review them on the show, but the Discovery follows Robert Redford as a scientist who discovers the afterlife, and the movie starts with him being interviewed about it, and we kind of learn that this discovery has led to millions of suicides because people wanting to go to this afterlife, go to this next world, have a second chance. And then after the interview, something happens, and then we pick up 3 years later with Jason Segel as Will, the son of Robert Redford, coming back home, kind of trying to dissuade him from continuing these experiments, as well as meeting up with, I think her name was Isla or something like that,
Yeah,
played
Isla.
by Rooney Mara, and those two continue to form a bit of a bond. But the movie mostly is a moody piece of work that focuses on the existential problem or existential questions involving the afterlife,
Yeah.
and it's very meditative in that
Very
facet.
philosophical. A little bit, yeah.
We'll get into
Yeah.
the review after
we
the
actually
break.
gotta take a break,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's why I
All right.
want to do the setup first.
All right,
But,
we're going to take a break.
after the break, the review for Discovery, which, by the way, you can now watch on Netflix.
Yeah. We are back with At the Movies with Matt and Ryan. And Matt just reviewed Boss Baby. Now we're talking about the Discovery, just give a background behind it.
Yeah.
And I made the point before the break that it is philosophical in a way.
How so?
It's about, I don't know, it's about death. There's a lot of the script is Siegel's character and Mara's character talking about like the afterlife and just like, I don't know, talking about life in general, like the meaning of it and what went on in their personal lives. And it just felt like it was a topic that was bigger than them, which I feel like is what kind of philosophy is.
If you're a fan of McDowell's last movie, The One I Love, I think this will be a bit of a disappointment. I like the movie.
Yeah, I thought it was good, but not great.
I think it does a lot of things well, and it's definitely more ambitious than McDowell's last movie. But I get the reviews of why they're so mixed. The movie currently has a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, which makes sense to me because there's a lot the movie does well, and there's a lot the movie struggles with.
Yeah.
First off, Robert Redford, he's not in the movie much, but this is, grade A Robert Redford here. He plays this kind of he plays a scientist, but plays him in a very arrogant kind of fashion, and he's just so great, and he has a great screen presence here, and it's awesome to see Redford kind of sink his teeth into a more, meaty and substantial role than he has in the past. Although I did like him in Pete's Dragon. The performance here are kind of mixed. I think Siegel has shown the potential to be a good dramatic actor, but I think here he's stuck with a pretty mediocre part. I think Will is definitely more of a...
Really?
He kind of witnesses everything, and he's more of... the plot goes through him. He doesn't feel like he has as much of a place in the story. He kind of seems more a bit of like a story device in a lot of ways. I think Rooney Mara, as always, is magnetic and charming, but I didn't really buy their relationship. A lot of the dialogue that they have that's supposed to be banter feels a little forced, and they just didn't really work on screen. I think Seagal's a good actor, but he's just kind of either miscasted or just kind of not given enough to do.
See, I think okay, maybe the banter was a little weird, but I think their dialogue was actually really good because it I don't know, enhanced the story, and it had a lot to do with both of them. I felt like I think it was very relevant what they were talking about a lot of times.
I know it just seemed like forced, I'd say. I think the movie is more successful at showing its themes through its mood and its imagery and things like that. I think Charlie McDowell, like, he's a good world builder. Like, even though we don't see a lot of, the effects, this movie mostly takes place on a small island. We feel kind of the dreariness of that through his imagery, and he evokes a lot of interesting ideas through imagery as well. And I think he's a good storyteller. I really like him as a director. I think as a co-screenwriter here, he wrote... I think someone else kind of helped him refine it. But I think the script is a bit too ambitious for its own good at points. I do think the movie starts very well and ends very well, but I think can get lost in the way a bit at the middle. Well. And I think some plot points feel a little forced. I think... there's one character who's Robert Redford's like close number 2, played by Riley Keough, and I kind of like where they go with the character until the climax, where what happens feels incredibly forced, and just it changes the movie. It feels like they just needed that to happen to explain why the ending is the way it is. But I think the movie in general does have a good cast. Jesse Plemons from Breaking Bad is also in it and does a great job. Landry Jones.
Yeah, he's from Friday Night Lights.
Landry.
I think like one of the major positives for me from this movie was the characters and how they were developed. And I think at times he almost took too long to develop them.
I think Will is kind of a blank slate. I think all the other characters are pretty interesting.
I don't think so. I think he's a complicated character. I wouldn't call him a blank slate. Yeah.
I just think he's not that interesting. I mean, I think the more interesting characters are Robert Redford. You get a sense of why he's going into this.
Well, we don't know that. I didn't figure that out till the end though, or almost the end.
Well, no, you see why he's motivated. He puts on this arrogant persona. Especially, I like the scenes when he's kind of, this movie does have an interesting angle where he's moved into this mansion and he has all of these kind of cult-like followers helping him with his daily practices, and the way he reacts in front of them, with these big, pump-up speeches and stuff like that is very different when behind closed doors. He's very withdrawn, and you can see the sense of loss the character has. And I thought that was effective, and I like Jesse Plemons in the movie as well. Same with Rooney Mara, but I think Seagal, it wasn't the most naturalistic performance he's given. I think the material does fail him a bit here, but I think they could have casted someone better.
Well, I don't think he had the most naturalistic emotions, but I could definitely tell he was fighting something. And I think that's natural right there. Like he was definitely hesitant to believe his dad and the whole process there, or the whole thing he was creating in his house or lab, whatever you want to call it. But like at the same time, he was very curious, and I felt like there was something he was hiding, and we found out at the end what it was. So I thought a couple like things he said weren't necessarily natural, but at the same time, I could definitely tell that he was fighting something.
Yeah, but
which I think is realistic.
I'm just saying he could have. I think they could have casted a better actor, because
maybe
I feel like I don't know, like as David Foster Wallace in End of the Tour, Jason Segel really fitted that persona and made the character work on the screen. I think here is more of a straight man that doesn't really play up to Segel's talent. Segel is a very charismatic actor, and when the role here is requiring all that charisma to be stripped away, he's far less of an impactful actor. I think he's better when he's able to use his charisma, whether it be in a quiet way or a loud way like he does in How I Met Your Mother. he's a far better actor.
Yeah, I mean, one of the problems I had with the movie was like, I don't know, I didn't like how him and Mara were like, I don't know, a couple almost.
Yeah,
I don't think it like felt like I don't think it really had anything to do with the plot, and it was kind of unnecessary.
Well, it does in the end.
I guess, but
I wish we didn't talk spoilers, but
yeah, I know, that's why I'm trying.
The
Not
banter here between the two is very disconnected. I think Mara does a good job. What I like is just the mood McDowell establishes, and I think that is able to tap into what he wants to tap into, which is kind of the questions involving mortality and our innate curiosity for mortality, or what's after life.
It's pretty evident on what,
and
which is something I was interested in. It was just,
yeah, it's an interesting theme. I don't think he quite captures it, but I think he makes a valiant effort at it, and the movie did engage me throughout its running time. I was very much into it, even though it doesn't go to the most interesting places in the world. It does, kind of conjure thoughts about the theme in your head, and I give McDowell credit for that. I think he does bite off a bit more than he can chew here, and it's not as successful as it could have been.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a lot to admire here. For sure.
Yeah, I think he was more adamant in trying to develop the characters rather than explore the idea of life after death.
I disagree with that. I think the characters... I mean, Rooney Mara's character, you get kind of... I think you get a sense of everyone, but it's not like they're these super well-developed characters.
I think they were.
I disagree. I think
there's everything you need to know about them, but as far as the plot goes, like there's this.
I know, but they're not not the most interesting.
You don't
characters.
Even know where they live.
I think a lot of the characters you know less about are more effective than like Will. Like Robert Redford's character, they don't spend that much time developing him, but you still get a sense of who he is and why he acts the way he does and what motivates him.
Toby too.
Yeah, same with Jesse Plemons' character, same with Rooney Mara. I think Will as a character just didn't work. He just felt like he was more of an observer of everything than actually like being a part of things. But that's how the script's coordinated. But it just didn't work with how it didn't mesh really. So that was my problem with that. But I think people who watch this, certainly with an open mind, will find a lot to think about, and there's a lot to talk about as well. We don't want to spoil things.
Yeah.
The movie does end in a very interesting way.
Yeah.
I had a feeling a twist was coming, and I wasn't completely...
Oh, yeah, I was waiting for it.
I wasn't shocked by it, but yeah, it's still a pretty good twist, and it ends the movie in an interesting way. But I still think that it could have gone in maybe a more ballsy direction.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, no, I mean, it took a while for that twist to come, though. It took till like last 15 minutes or 20 minutes. But I think it's interesting. I think it's worth the watch for people who are interested in this.
Interested in this. I think McDowell's a guy who also... I like how he explores the difference between like fantasy and reality in his movies. He did the same in The One I Love. There's, he really captures like the struggles of real world and like people wanting this perfect fantasy life, this kind of and people how they idealize that even though they don't know what it would be. It's just this kind of interesting, chase for this more idealistic life that I find interesting. It's definitely an interesting moral quandary.
Yeah.
Do we want to get into ratings?
Yeah. I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
7. Yeah. I think I'm around 6.5.
Really?
Like a B minus. Yeah, I was definitely engaged. I think it could have been better.
Yeah.
But still a very interesting movie, and I think an interesting movie to pick up by Netflix.
I think it's relevant too.
Well, obviously.
I don't know. Like,
I think its
a lot
issues,
of people
its issue is universal. It's something.
Yeah.
Well,
although it's like
universal, not relevant. Relevant's something more of a time.
Although it's like fictional, it's also like very, realistic for people. Like some people just like don't think life's worth living, and it's like they want to understand.
I'd say the movie's more. I wouldn't say it's more universal because of the curiosity about the afterlife.
Yeah, that too. But I mean,
I think. All right. Yeah, I give it a 6.5. Netflix has had a pretty good start to the year. I've seen most of their original content releases. We reviewed Imperial Dreams
Yeah, that was good.
a month ago. Another movie to check out.
That was really good.
But what do you think of Netflix's original content, how it's going from a film perspective?
I mean, I think it's improving a lot because I remember when I first got Netflix, I probably got it a few years ago. And I think there was a time before that where you could it was a lot better because you could get CDs in the mail and stuff if there if
Well,
it
you can
wasn't-
still do that.
Or yeah, but it was still like they still had higher quality movies on Netflix, and then all of a sudden they dropped off a bit because I think that I forgot. I remember learning this in like school or something. They were competing with like another website or something, and they just or they got split. Their company got split. But it seems like nowadays they're finally starting to try in simpler terms. I think.
No, I way disagree.
I think
with
they're
that.
yeah.
Since 2011 with House of Cards, they've really established
Movie
themselves.
wise, I'm not saying TV
well, movie
shows.
wise, I think they're. I don't.
TV shows they've had a while.
Well,
They've
they
always
were
had good
smart
TV.
to go with TV shows first because that way you have this binge quality where you can go through all this stuff. And
Yeah, well,
at this point in television, they're this really a dynamo that can't be stopped.
well, that's why they focused on television because there's multiple places to get movies, and there's not a lot of places to get like every season of a TV show. I think Netflix is.
Well,
one
I'm
of the
saying
only
like
few.
original content. I'm not saying the stuff they pick up. I'm saying like the shows they make, like
Yeah.
House of Cards and Daredevil and Luke Cage and shows like that. I'm not talking about the other shows. I'm talking about strictly the content they make.
Well, now they're doing it with movies
Well, they're
a lot more.
Well, they've gotten interesting people. They signed Adam Sandler to a 4-movie contract, and they've also just given him a new 4-movie contract recently. So I know why they want Sandler. Sandler, his movies are very Netflix-esque.
Yeah, they are.
They're the kind of thing you'd fall asleep to or just watch on a rainy day. Nothing, great. I so far I've detested his Netflix entries, but
Yeah, the cobbler.
we'll go to break and then
Yeah.
we'll continue
All right,
our
we'll go
Netflix
break.
discussion.
And we'll be back. We are back with At the Movies with Matt and Ryan, talking about Netflix and its impact on society.
No, we're just talking. Okay, but with movies, Netflix has also reached out to independent creators like Mark Duplass, who is known for his smaller budget dramas. Same with Joe Swanberg to make content as well. And I think that's really smart because the way independent cinema is going, it's becoming all that much harder for a movie like Blue Jay, which came out last year, to break out in theaters. So they've teamed up and they've made some pretty good content. Joe Swanberg actually has a movie coming out next week for Netflix that we'll probably talk about at some point. But I think when it comes to the movies they make, they're still struggling. I know they have War Machine coming out in May with Brad Pitt. Like, that's one of their big budget movies. Early word of mouth on that is pretty bad, even though they're really selling the movie. I've seen ads for it on TV even, but I think they have done a good job picking up movies in the festival circuit.
Yeah.
Like Discovery and Barry last year and Taluya or whatever with Ellen Page. They've picked up some good stuff, and I think that's a good way for them to go because it's so much easier to just pick something up at a festival than create your own actual content. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I've been impressed so far. I enjoyed Barry greatly. Imperial Dreams was really good.
Imperial Dreams actually premiered at Sundance 3 years before Netflix released it, which is crazy. It premiered at Sundance 2014.
Yeah. And the Discovery was, competent, and it was pretty good too. So, I mean, they're on a good run right now, and I mean, it'd be interesting to see where else they go. You said the Brad Pitt movie, but I mean,
well, they also have. I'm curious to see that movie Bright. They have with Will Smith. That's like one of their big, first big like action movies. And Joel Edgerton, who plays like an orc, but it's this kind of like grounded, take on like it's kind of like Bad Boys, but with fantasy.
with fantasy. Oh,
Have you not seen the trailer for it, Bright?
Bright. No, I'm not.
Okay, well, watch that.
I'll watch that.
It comes out. The movie doesn't come out till December.
So
yeah.
that's coming on Netflix, like straight to Netflix, not. It's not coming to the theaters?
No.
Okay.
Straight to Netflix. Talk for a minute. I'm gonna let Ashley in.
Okay. Matt's going to go let Ashley in. But yeah, it's been impressive lately. I usually use it for TV shows. And every now and then I'll occasionally go back to a comedy classic. I also like using Netflix for like the light movies, like the hour and a half comedies. But, Matt's been showing me some new ones. New movies on Netflix, the originals. I was just saying that I usually use Netflix mostly for TV shows and like lighter movies that I've seen before. But I mean, nowadays I'm using.
Well, I mean, the interesting is Amazon's whooping their butt with the movies because
that's I think
Manchester by the Sea and movies like Neon Demon were produced by them.
Yeah,
and they're going with more of a theatrical, release, and then they released those movies early on Amazon, earlier than you get on DVD, which is interesting, I think.
Yeah,
I think the question is, will Netflix ever contend for an Oscar with like their original content? Like,
I think eventually. Eventually they will. I don't know. Like, I mean, I think you have to release at the right time too.
The way people in the Academy view things, they definitely look down upon movies that come out on Netflix. I think it's more of a millennial idea that these things kind of come out and you can stream them instantly, and they're not in the theater. Compared to.
Well, I was gonna say that it could also be box office too, but I don't think so because Moonlight just won Best Picture, so I don't think that'd be a good argument.
Well, no,
but they do take that into account.
That's a big reason why Sandler did the Netflix deal, because his last couple of movies at the box office didn't do very well, and he's at a place where. He releases his movies. No one can tell how they do. There's no scrutiny for him. Except for the obvious critical scrutiny that all of his movies get. But it's a much safer venue. And what I've heard is Netflix is very hands-off with their content creators. And I think that's why Adam Sandler's past couple of movies have been so terrible, because they indulge all of his stupidity and moronic humor to an unprecedented degree.
Oh yeah,
even compared to like Jack and Jill and stuff. Like the Ridiculous Six was pretty terrible, and the one with Kevin James, True Memoirs of an International Assassin, that was a struggle to even finish watching. That was just. But I don't know. I think they're in a very interesting place, and we'll see down the line where they go. But
I don't know.
What do you want to talk about next?
What do I want to talk about next? I don't know. Are you still watching the Yankees game?
No, that's still 7-2. We can talk a little baseball, basketball. We'll do basketball first. The playoff season's almost over. Playoff
Celtics
races
just won.
Yeah.
Watch out, Cavs.
Celtics have a 1-game lead for the 1 seed, and Cleveland's at 2, Raptors 3, Wizards 4, Bucks 5, Hawks 6, Bulls all the way to 7, and Heat 8.
Bulls have been playing well lately.
Of the Bulls, Heat, and Pacers all have the same record. So 2 teams will make it. Who do you think the 2 that'll make it, and who do you think misses?
I'm gonna go with the Pacers and the Heat. I think the Heat are still like one of the hottest teams in the league. I trust Eric Spoelstra as a coach. They got a decent bench. I don't trust the Bulls at all. There's been some games where they played pretty god-awful. I was watching the Celtics game over spring break when they played them. They looked very uninspiring. Even Jimmy Butler did. He doesn't look like he wants to be on this team anymore. Fred Hoiberg is one of the worst coaches in the NBA. I think he was a better college coach at Iowa State. And, D. Wade's still hurt, right? Or is he back?
Yeah, he's out for the year.
He's out for the year. So, yeah, that hurts as well. Although Wade, obviously, wasn't like he was having a fantastic year to start with, but he got that veteran presence on the team. You got a guy who's been there before. He's gone.
I disagree with you.
On what?
I think the Bulls are making the playoffs.
No.
You need it not? Okay, a month ago, yes. But recently, they're on us.
Okay.
Their last 10 games, they won 7 of 10.
I could say the same thing about Portland, but they're not going to.
What do you mean, Portland?
Portland's been hot, too, but you're
Yeah, they're going to make it.
I know they will.
So what's your point?
I'm going to stick with them for the Western Conference Finals.
Oh, Jesus.
Back in
I'm not saying the Bulls are going to win playoff games. I'm saying they've been playing well, and I think part of it is Rondo finding his place at the point guard position. He's had double-digit assists the past couple games. Butler is still the alpha dog. I think they're better without Wade.
Rondo is shooting second. He has the second best 3-point shooting percentage on the Bulls.
Yep, no, but here's the
And
thing.
he's Rajon Rondo.
Here's the thing.
He doesn't shoot.
People on the team are getting better. Mirotic this past week has gone off.
It's
And
1
he's
week.
shooting like 60% from 3 like the past 2 weeks. And he's playing a lot better. He's playing within himself. And I think the team's better without Wade because when you have one clear alpha dog, it's just so much easier to play. And Rondo and Butler have played well together.
No, they're gonna fall apart.
Why do you say that? I mean,
Just because they're playing well, Matt.
Yeah, but
the NBA is a long season. There's 82 games. You're
well,
gonna have a
the
week.
season's almost over.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
you're
like
gonna have a week stretch of.
But here they also have the easier schedule of the 3 teams. They have the easiest schedule.
I don't have it in front of me.
But they have these.
But I'm
they
just
play the Pelicans tonight. Let's see.
Who
what
have
else
been
they have.
on a roll too.
Okay. Pelicans, the Knicks without Carmelo and
Knicks
Rondo.
will be a win. Knicks will be a win.
The Sixers, Brooklyn, Orlando,
Sixers might not be.
Brooklyn.
Sixers might
Brooklyn,
not be.
Orlando, Brooklyn at the end
Okay,
of the year.
yeah.
Dude, they're totally making it.
Listen,
Come on.
Listen to me.
Bet on it then.
They're gonna fall apart. I'm not betting on it. I'm not betting on it.
If you're saying you're going to fall apart, I mean, they
Listen to me.
haven't. There's only 5 games left.
they
It's
got
not-
a lot of moody players on their team
I think
with a coach that can't control them.
Yeah, but I think they've found their rhythm, and I think with Butler as the clear alpha dog, and then everyone else playing their roles well.
And Butler-
Same with Bravin Lopez is a good player. Denzel Valentine's starting to find his shooting stroke. He's a promising rookie.
Butler.
Bobby Portis has some strengths at the power forward position.
Listen.
I just think they're starting to find their voice
And
more.
your alpha dog doesn't even want to be on the team anymore. He wants nothing to do with them.
If you want
The
to
only
talk
reason
about
why he's playing well, Maz, because this is his job. He needs
Ryan,
to go out
if you
there
want
every
to talk
night.
about alpha dogs who doesn't want to be on his team, Paul George is the number. How do you say the Pacers are going to make it over the Bulls then? Paul George is openly miserable with his teammates and has called them out over and over again.
Yeah,
Jimmy
it's
Butler,
a motivation.
Yeah, but
Matt.
Jimmy
what motivation's Butler showing for his team? If he's the leader,
Jimmy,
what motivation?
they're
is he
winning
showing?
games.
They're winning games.
Yeah,
They've won like 3 straight.
they've won 7 of the last 10, dude. That's good.
Yeah, that's good, Matt. It's
and
a
their
long
their
season.
losses.
And they've looked extremely
Yeah,
poor.
but they're tied right now. You need to throw everything out, dude. This
It
is a
doesn't
new
matter.
team. It's all that matters now.
It's not a
since-
new team.
Dude, you're so ignorant right now. All that matters is the final 5 or 6 games for them, because it's a new season. Because they're all tied up with 3 teams for 2 spots. So all they need to do is give their. You're picking the team that's going to play the best for the next 5 games, and clearly that's the Bulls. I mean, the Heat have even struggled recently. They're 5-5. I think out of the 3 teams, the one team that'll definitely make it is the Bulls. I think. The Pacers are just so dysfunctional. I can't pick them to.
I trust the coaches too. I think Eric's.
You trust Nate McMillan or whatever?
Nate
Come on,
McMillan.
he's the same as Fred Hoiberg. I think the Bulls have they found their rhythm. They found their guys, and I think they're gonna get crushed in the first round. But I think Jimmy Butler
will.
Jimmy Butler's had a way better year than Paul George too. I think that's another thing. You're drastically underrated.
Yeah, I've said Paul George is very overrated.
I don't think he's very overrated. I just
overrated.
think Jimmy Butler's had a better year.
Okay, Paul George had like those years when they made the Eastern Conference Finals against the Heat. I agree, he was one of the best players in the league. He's significantly fallen off from that.
No.
Yes.
He's just on a
Ever
garbage.
since that broken leg.
Here's the No, last year he was amazing. Last year he had 25 points, shot 42%. This year he has 23 and he's shooting 46%. All very good statistics. The problem is the team. Like I don't blame him for being upset because he's surrounded by garbage. I mean, he has the corpse of Al Jefferson.
So is Butler.
Butler has a better team, I think.
No.
At least Mirotic and Denzel Valentine and Rondo, when you get him motivated, which he is right now, and there's very few better passers and defenders at the point guard position when motivated than Rondo.
Oh, he's got to be. I mean,
Well, he is motivated. I mean, that Pacers team is just so lifeless, and I don't think Paul George, he's just been so moody and angry with everyone. Everyone there's unhappy. And I think this is what's going to happen. I think the Pacers...
Okay, LeBron does the same thing.
But...
They're still the second seed.
Dude, you can't compare them. LeBron has freaking Kyrie Irving and
All
Kevin
right,
Love.
Still complaining. They're still winning.
Dude, they're not even in the same league. LeBron James...
Yeah, they are.
Okay, but
The NBA.
they're not in the same quality league. He has 3 of the top 25 players on his team. Where do you think Miles Turner ranks among?
Paul George is a guy that went up against LeBron James, man, in 2010, 2011.
Okay, but he had Lance Stevenson. He had Roy Hibbert, all-star Roy Hibbert. He had a very good veteran, David West. He had a team. You need a George Hill is a very good defensive point guard who can shoot the three ball.
I'm just saying.
Okay, Miles Turner is the second best player.
Miles Turner's a good player.
Where does he rank in the NBA? If you were to put him in a tier, where was he? Top 50, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, then how are you comparing him to LeBron James, who has 3?
I'm not comparing.
Well, you're saying, like, oh, LeBron's doing it, but he's winning still. That's
Yeah.
because he has good teammates, and he has a good team, and he has a good coach.
No excuses, Matt. Just because he's LeBron James. You're Paul George. You can go hand in hand with him. You have before.
Dude, you can't win by yourself. And
I know, Matt.
Then why are you blaming Paul George?
I'm not blaming Paul George.
You just said. You can go hand in hand. Why don't you do
motivate
it?
his team. What is Butler doing?
Butler he doesn't need to because they're playing well.
Oh my gosh. Butler is supposed to be the.
Butler has been a better leader this year because
This is why I backed up LeBron.
throwing people under the bus isn't being a great leader. I mean, LeBron.
He's not throwing him under the bus.
He pretty much said this team is playing like
He's
garbage.
going on Matt.
What
How is he throwing him under the bus? He's publicly telling his team.
You need to stop
that they
yelling
too. That they need to play better.
He said everyone on his team is garbage. He's like literally said that.
He did not say
he's
that.
openly said like everyone knows he wants to go to LA. Like everyone knows that.
Why would he want to go to LA?
Well, that's what he wants. That's just what he wants. He wants to he said he's sick of this team. He's like he's
LA's
done.
not much
all right?
better. LA
and
is.
Paul George, I think, is underrated at anything. Everyone gives him crap. Oh my god.
gosh.
He's on a bad team. You can't win by yourself. You can't. And the fact that the Pacers are even competing for a playoff spot, I think is a token of just how good Paul George is. And I think the same with the Bulls. The fact that they're competing is a token of how good Jimmy Butler is. But I think at this moment, the Bulls are a better team than the Pacers.
And he had Wade. All right.
What do you think?
I said he had Wade, too, but he's hurt now. All right, we got to go to break. We'll be back. We only have 15 minutes, so stay with us. We are back with At the Movies with Matt and Ryan, talking about basketball.
Yeah, Ryan's being way too harsh to Paul George and Jimmy Butler at the same time.
Don't tell Trent when
I'm going to tell Trent tune in. But
what?
You're being silly about Paul George. I don't. You know, he's miserable, and that team is garbage. Like
I think Butler is just as miserable.
No, I think Butler.
Well, you know what Butler does, Matt? He goes out and does his job.
Okay, Paul George is averaging 24 points per game. He's not doing his job. He's averaging 7 rebounds.
Exactly.
He's not doing his job.
Exactly.
Okay, he's doing his job, but that team's so dysfunctional. Like, the dysfunction is so open. I think the Bulls, I think they're better without Wade because they don't have that competing alpha dog nature. I think with Wade in the backseat, Jimmy Butler feels way more comfortable as the number one guy. And I think Rondo's happier because he plays a lot more minutes. I think everyone's just happier. And I think with Rondo having good complementary role players like a Mirotic, like a Valentine, like a Robin Lopez to kind of play and pass and move the ball with, I think he's really kind of found his role. I mean, this is probably the best Rondo's played in like years, the past couple of weeks.
Okay, it's a week. I mean,
the past couple. No, they're
really,
7-3 in the last 10.
They've looked really lifeless at points.
They beat the Cat. Ryan, you need to throw out the beginning. Yes, I agree. They were garbage at points, but it's about who's playing well now. It's not you got to throw out the past 3 months. Who's playing well right now? The Chicago Bulls are playing well right now, and obviously they're gonna make if they make the playoffs, they're not gonna make it out of the first round. But I think if they played a team like Cleveland, who is not on the top of their game, they can make that a 6-game series. I think they have I think if you're a team like Cleveland, the team you want the most is the Pacers because they're just so unhappy.
Well, it's all about matchups, the NBA playoffs.
The Bulls have been able to play every top team well.
Well, yeah, obviously they don't want to
They
face
played
the Bulls.
Celtics. They played the Celtics well. I know they had that stinker a couple weeks ago, but they've played the Cavs well. They've played the Raptors well. They played the Wizards well. They're a team that is competitive with the best teams. They play to the quality of their competitor. I think that's what they've shown.
Which is a problem.
I know, but
that's like the Celtics-itis. That's what the Celtics have done in the past.
Oh, really a problem. They're the ones.
I said in the past, Matt.
Okay, but they're gonna. I get that's a problem. They're not gonna make it out of the first round, but I'm saying they could compete in the first round.
Yeah, obviously LeBron doesn't want to go up against the Bulls because he knows Jimmy Butler can cover him.
Okay.
And,
Well,
and Rondo can cover Irving.
all right. Well, moving on to the West.
Yep.
Pacers or the Trailblazers are gonna make the A seed.
Yeah.
And they're gonna play the Warriors in the first round and get swept probably.
No.
Really? You think the Trailblazers are gonna win?
Yeah.
Okay. Just remember that, fans. Ryan picked the Blazers to beat the Warriors. An abysmal pick. But I want to talk baseball. We got 10 minutes. I want to do a little preview. We're gonna pick division winners.
Oh, great.
AL
Sox.
East. AL East.
Red Sox, obviously. They're winning the World Series this year.
All right. I want you to say no, and don't reveal that yet.
Oh, there
Who do
you
you
go.
think's gonna be first? Who do you think's gonna be worst?
Worst is going to be the Baltimore Orioles. They got no pitching. Actually, no,
what?
never mind. Fourth will be the Yankees because I don't think they have either. Oh, Jesus, Trent. No, yeah, Baltimore at least has got some bats. They got Chris Davis, they got Adam Jones, they got Machado, and I think they just picked up. They picked up someone too from the Pirates or something. I don't know. Or no, maybe they traded. No, they traded what's his name, Steve Pierce away. But I think they picked someone else up. I will have to look that up. I was reading about that.
I go with Red Sox first, and I think Tampa Bay will be worse, just because
Really?
they have some interesting players, but I don't think they have a very good team hitting wise. I know they're beating the Yankees right now.
I don't think the Yankees have interesting team or a good team.
The Yankees do. They have a lot of interesting young guys.
They got young guys, but
Greg Bird. I mean Gary Sanchez. I think the Yankees have a future. The Rays, who is their young guys that are really awesome? Like Archer's okay. He's been very wildly in the past. Longoria's getting up there. They don't have like a future as much. The Yankees, according to Keith Law, have the second best farm system.
I don't
in
care
the
about
MLB.
Keith Law.
He's a smart man.
It doesn't matter, Matt. We're talking about this year. We're not talking about the future.
I know, but they have
Last
interesting
place.
young guys.
Last place.
I think they'll be better than
They're going to be
Tampa Bay.
eaten alive.
I think they'll be better than Tampa. But
No. All right.
AL Central, who you got?
I got the first place team, the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, that one's pretty obvious.
And I got the last place team.
Twins for me.
Yeah, the Twins are pretty irrelevant in the. They got that young guy though, Buxton. Is that his name?
Byron Buxton, yeah.
Yeah, he'll still be good, but
Miguel Sano too.
but they don't have as much of a interesting farm system as
They
some
have
of
a
the other
horrible
teams.
pitching staff.
Yeah,
AL West, who you got?
I got the Texas Rangers.
Okay, we disagree.
First place. Oh yeah, you're gonna have the Astros, aren't you?
I have the Astros.
Yeah, I would have the Astros close, but I'm gonna stick with Texas.
Okay.
And last place, I'll have the. Hang on, I'm blanking. Oakland A's, maybe. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oakland's pretty bad. Yeah.
Either Oakland or the Angels.
Yeah,
I mean, the
Angels-
Mariners were actually kind of
Here's
competitive
my thing.
last
Angels
year.
have Mike Trout. They'll be mediocre, but they won't be good.
I think, okay, now we need to pick wild cards. I'm going with Texas.
I'll go with Houston.
Texas and who else? I mean, that's interesting.
Houston and Kansas City.
Kansas City. That's a decent one.
Yeah,
I
I'll go
mean,
with Houston to Kansas City.
I'm going Toronto.
I mean, either way, in my opinion, whether or not the Astros or Rangers, whoever wins that division, but the other team's going to get the wild card, and they're probably going to win.
I
So-
go Toronto just because I think Stroman's going to have
You
a
think so?
breakout year.
Yeah, I could see the AL East too, but I think Kansas City is going to have. They had a very underwhelming year. It was the World Series hangover, I guess you could say. But I think they'll be better this year.
I think their pitching's too weak. They don't have an established ace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, you're on,
Ventura.
I'm sure. But
Yeah.
NL East.
NL East.
I think the best obviously is going to be the Nats.
Washington. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mets have been really. I don't know. Like
The Nets
I
are-
want to trust the Mets.
No, the Nets are a way more balanced team.
I know,
dude.
but I want to trust
From
the Mets.
everyone raves about the Mets pitchers and how young they are, but I'd take the Nats rotation.
Yeah, because the Mets don't have any hitting.
Well, I think the Nats rotation's better because they have more durable
Yeah.
guys. I think Matz is a train wreck. He's always hurt. Same with Harvey, and
Yeah.
then Syndergaard had some arm problems last year.
And
I
DeGrom's
think
been inconsistent.
they're brittle.
Yeah.
They have four pretty well, except for Syndergaard. I think Syndergaard's their ace, obviously.
Yeah,
but
Syndergaard was fantastic last year when he was healthy.
I think the Nationals definitely, and then I'll take. I don't know. I think the Marlins will be the worst.
Yeah, probably.
Rip Fernandez,
Yeah.
Jose. That's
Although
sad.
I have Stanton on my team, so maybe he'll hit some home
Central,
runs.
pretty easy. Cubs.
Yeah, Cubs. They'll
Who
probably.
do you think's gonna be the worst? You got the Reds and the Brewers, pretty much.
Yeah, probably the Brewers. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter really. I like the Pirates though. I think McCutchen. People, okay, McCutchen's fallen off, but I'll back up my uncle's team. I think don't give up on McCutcheon yet. I think he'll bat like 290. You know,
All right. The West, I think the Brewers will be the worst. By the way, at the West we got Giants, Dodgers as always. Who do you think's gonna win?
Giants.
That? Giants.
They have a good pitching staff. I think they have good enough hitting to. Buster Posey, you can't go wrong with them. Like, come on.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers have. I mean, getting Logan Forsythe was a very good addition, very underrated addition.
I don't know, like
Dodgers.
The Dodgers are like the Clippers of baseball.
Why do you say that?
Because they're always like really good. Like they have a decent record by the end of the year, but they always lose in the playoffs in the first round. Or second round.
Well, last year was big. Not only the fact they made it to the finals, but they also Clayton Kershaw had a big playoff moment, and I think he got the monkey off his back in a big sense in that way.
Which is a weird coincidence because the Clippers are also in LA. But
I don't think they're the Clippers. I think they don't choke. I mean,
yeah, they do.
Clayton last year
they should have beat the Mets 2 years ago, Matt. The Mets, I think
that went 5. That
the
was
Mets
a good series.
overachieved. I think.
Well, they beat down the Cubs. So
yeah,
I don't think.
I know, but that was huge, and then they lost to the.
I don't blame them that much because always these years the Dodgers don't have that good of hitting. Like Adrian Gonzalez and then like Puig when he was good, but since then they just haven't had that good of hitting.
We'll see though.
I'll go with the Giants too. I just think they're a more balanced team. But we
last
go.
Place beats probably. I don't know. I like San Diego. They've been interesting.
Padres would be the worst.
Yeah, but they've been interesting.
Diamondbacks not far behind. But
yeah.
Who do you think the 2 wildcard teams are?
I want to. I would say Dodgers if I'm picking the Giants, and then I would also say, I mean, I want to pick Mets. I really do.
And throw out the Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals didn't make it last year. Yeah,
Cardinals. Yeah, they didn't make it.
Yeah, Pirates didn't either. I think. Or did they? Did they?
No, they
didn't.
The wild card was Giants Mets.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that as a repeat. I mean,
yeah, and that was interesting because I think the Central's tough because those teams cannibalize each other because it's a very competitive division. Yeah. I'm gonna go. It's tough. I gotta go Dodgers because they showed last year they can play well even without Kershaw. And I'm gonna go Cardinals. I don't trust the Mets rotation to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I think the Cardinals are such an established brand as a franchise that they can be good enough to win 90 games. And then who do you think's gonna make it? What's your World Series pick? Who you got?
I got Red Sox Cubs. I can't wait. I hope it is that.
Red Sox Cubs.
I hope it is that. Yeah, and I think it's a possibility. I mean, the Cubs have not, done anything to, that significant this offseason, which is a good thing, and the Red Sox have a little bit. So they've improved their pitching staff. I mean, I know there's still questions, but Chris Sale no doubt has improved the pitching staff. So
I'm going Indians Giants.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think the Indians have.
That's
improved.
Not bad. Yeah.
They're so much better than their postseason team because they have Salazar and Carrasco back, and then the addition of Edwin is a big one. And I think the Giants, with getting Mark Melkanen as the closer, Melanson, whatever the heck his name is, they're just a more deep team. I don't trust Chris Sale in the play. I've never seen Chris Sale pitch in the playoffs. I don't trust that.
Although baseball is declining as a sport, like. It still has one of the more exciting playoffs because I'm going against history right now by saying the Cubs are going to make the World Series again, and saying that because the Cubs and Red Sox are 2 of the big favorites. I feel like, and I'm kind of going.
Usually the favorites don't make it though. That's why I'm.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm going MLB is one of those sports, probably the only sport where you never know who can make it, and it's crazy to think that. But.
As long as the Giants get in the dance, they're dangerous.
Yeah.
I think they gave the Cubs a good scare last year too. Because Game 4, they're about to win Game 4 and force Game 5 until their bullpen just crap the bed. But
and I have Cubs winning it all.
And what? In 5, 6, 7?
It would go 6. 4.
I have Giants in 7 over the Indians.
That'd be amazing if the Cubs won it all again. Just I
don't see it. I think they're gonna have a little struggles this year.
No, yeah, they'll have.
I think Lester's gonna drop off. I think that's where I think they're gonna struggle.
Here's my thing. I think the Royals hangover wasn't as surprising as if the Cubs had one. I think the Cubs.
I don't think they'll have a hangover, but I think they'll win 100 games. But I don't think. I think come postseason time, they're just not as strong of a team.
Yeah.
And last year they got a lot of lucky breaks. I mean, especially against the Giants and the Indians. I don't know. I just don't. I don't see it working out
well,
that way for them.
I think the Royals, when they won it all, I think their team was based off of good situation, good based off of good situational plays and good coaching. I think the Cubs just have raw talent, and that's why I don't.
The Giants definitely have both of that.
Yeah,
they're one of the most veteran and seasoned teams in baseball. Same with the Indians, with Francona.
Yeah,
I think that's a great manager battle between Francona and Bruce Bochy.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But MVP picks. Want to do quick MVP Cy Young?
Yeah. For the AL, I mean, I gotta go Trout.
I'll go Altuve.
You want Altuve? That's a good one too. But I don't know. I just don't see Trout's like LeBron. Like
as long as Houston is as good this year, I think Altuve could get bat over 300, have 25 home runs, 100 and 100 steal RBI, and he'll definitely win. NL's interesting. What?
Nothing. I said Arenado because I picked him. I want him to. I want him to.
I guess you could put up empty numbers.
He could.
I don't have like a favorite for the NL.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
Maybe Bryce Harper.
Yeah, unless Harper, because last year's kind of disappointing after a huge breakout.
Cy Youngs, who you got?
For the AL, Sale.
Sale?
Red Sox are getting 2 in a row. Yeah, I'm gonna go Sale.
I'll go Kluber.
Especially to have an impact. NL, I might go
Clayton.
Kurt Clayton. If he stays healthy, it'll be Clayton.
All right. So we're wrapping up now?
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a fun show. If I'll put this up later. Any other shows you've missed in the past will be up on our channel as well at The Movies with Matt and Ryan. We have 9 subscribers now. So let's keep it going. And enjoy the nice weather. It's finally here. Hopefully it sticks around for once.